Hello, I'm back again and I am going to do one of my design team projects for Embellish With Flair. It's a small Australian flair company, and there's such a huge variety of flair in their shop. So I'm going to incorporate that into this layout, and I'm using my counterfeit kit that I made a little while ago. So this was the paper that inspired the entire kit, and these were the photos that sort of I've been saving this paper for. So I mean, I took this was an Instax one, taken with the Instax camera, not with like those little printer things, so you can tell it's not, I mean, Instax photos don't come out particularly great, but I think that's part of the charm. We're still working on getting the light settings quite right. And then there was just this one taken with a normal camera, so I'll use the two of them together. I wanted to print this one bigger, but not too big, so you could see the detail in the dresses, which is sort of what this whole paper's all about. So the only thing I've prepared is that I knew that I wanted, and I'm not sure how this came about, but I want a rainbow. I'll put these photos there with some kind of journaling box, maybe title, whatever, with a box across there. And then I want a big diagonal rainbow of just stuff. So I spent all day yesterday going through all the embellishments in the kit, and I admit I went outside of the kit to find what I needed, and I sort of divided them up like this. Now I know that there's, whoops, this sticker fell. There's aqua, and there's no sort of massive difference between indigo and violet, because for me, the whole colours of the rainbow thing, the indigo just doesn't work for me. I think that having something like aqua between green and blue is a much more natural transition. So that's what I've done, and obviously I've included pink because, you know, it's a crime against humanity not to. I know it's just a light version of red. The first thing I need to do before I get onto this, and I've probably pulled way too much, but what I did pull out are all things that somehow relate to my nieces, either things they like, things they've done, things they do regularly, things that are happening to them, reflections about the way I feel about them, things that I think of when I think of them, just all that kind of stuff. So yeah, put that aside for now. Definitely want some kind of matting on these photos to brighten them up. What I do also want to do is, because this is from the paper pad, and I always feel that they're flimsier, and I just need to put, I think I'm going to put it on a little frame. I think it'll look better, and it will be a bit more sturdy, especially if we're going to have a massive ton of stuff. It's going to be big and heavy and chunky. So I've only got one of these in the kit, and it would be nice to use this side. But even more importantly, I was thinking that as I was looking through the papers, I want a contrasting block along here, and if I gutted it, I could use those bits and put it there, but gutting it is going to take away from the strength, and there's nothing else really in the kit that is going to work. I mean, I've looked through everything multiple times. I mean, there's this one, and yeah, it's got the rainbow dots, but then they're two different blues, and yeah, it's just not going to work. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat, but it's only kind of a little bit of a cheat, because I'm just going to get a second sheet of this. I have multiple sheets, it's all right. So I'm going to use one for the, just you know, to reinforce the page and give a background, and then another one across there. I am tempted, very tempted, to go with black instead, because we do have the black hearts, and my nieces have the, I mean, there's a black couch and these black prints. So when I go to my stash to get another one of these, I can't promise that I won't come back with black. There is one sheet here that's sort of, that has a black and white sort of chalkboard print on the back, but it's just too busy and just not, it's not right. But the more I think about it, the more I'm looking at it, the more I'm leaning towards black. But like I said before, if it means that the story gets told and ends up in the book, it's not really a cheat. And this is a special page. And in my defense, I think using black and or black and white, sort of in the middle under the rainbow, is going to really help that rainbow pop. So I will be right back with either another sheet of blue or black. Okay, well, I found these, and I actually do have 2 of each sheet, but this one, this Maggie Holmes one, I don't actually know where the second sheet went. I know I wanted to use it for these sort of folksy looking unicorns for a layout, and I didn't end up using it, and I had it put aside. It's probably in the pile of papers that I need to put away. So it probably turned out for the best, because while I have 2 of these diagonals, and the diagonals look awesome as a little frame around the edge, they can make your eyes go funny. And this is a very white, and this is a slightly creamy white. And the slightly creamy white will be better because I'm thinking I might need to use this one for some mattes, and this one's sort of cream. And they're not going to be close together. So what I'll do is I will get started with trimming those down, trimming off branding strips and getting, you know, all the layers, you know, getting this mounted onto that, and then see what I'm going to do with these larger bits. Okay, well, here's my page, paper with the border, and I really like how that looks. I'm really happy with that. So now I'm going to figure out how big to make this, because I want this against the blue, and then I'm not sure yet of what to do with this one. So I'll cut the black, put these on just to play with. There is actually a really nice rainbow on the back, so I mean, perhaps I could even layer it up, you know, something like that, or like that, but then the white, I don't know, something, maybe that. These ones I want some layers behind, definitely. I'm not sure what yet. They're going to be in the middle of the rainbow, and then at first I thought I'd have the rainbow sort of starting red at the photos and then going in both directions, but since they'll probably be at the top of the page, it's not going to work, because then this one will be really short. So I'm just going to start with red up here and then go through. So how big do we make this? I'm not 100% sure about the journaling. I've got a few options for journaling. I mean, I've pulled out some bits from the paper pad, from the various paper pads that I could cut back. I mean, there's some journaling cards here that I've pulled out. I was thinking this one, because the grid is really quite small and it should be quite good to write on, but the blue background kind of makes it a bit, I don't know, it's kind of decisive, unless I just cut around it. That's a possibility. Could even mount it on something else. Ooh, now I'm thinking. Yeah, so I'll just use that as a template for now. The other thing I was thinking is I could use sort of a section of this, maybe even cut a strip off the bottom here and put it up there. I have a fair amount to write, but I'm going to try and write small. So this one is another one that I really like the idea of, even just a section of rainbow, because these little dotted lines are quite close together. So I think there'll be something that will work, but I'll just use this as a placeholder. I'm not sort of intending for the height to completely mat them all, so I'm happy for that to be a little bit shorter. So probably taller than this, but shorter than that. So I probably should go measure this, shouldn't I? Okay, I decided to give the rainbows a try. I'm not completely certain as to whether that's how I'm going to have it, but generally that's how I want the photos. This still remains to be seen. I do like that there's a lot of, you know, it's just a single rainbow and there's plenty of open space on it and there's plenty of contrast. Might not be the case once we start piling all the colour, but yeah. So I think what I'm going to have to do is tack these, at least the photos, together so that I can get them in a position where I like them and they'll stop moving. Tack it onto the side there, and with this adhesive it's not a huge drama if it needs to come off and be moved around, and there's always undo for emergencies. Okay, let's put that like that. We don't want to cut off any of her cute little hands or feet. Oh yeah, gluing down this strip would be a good idea first, wouldn't it? I will try. The only issue is that the this sort of rough glittery surface on the clouds may or may not like the regular adhesive, so it may mean that I have to come back with glue dots, which is fine, but at least it means for now it will hold everything in place. Have I put that down too low? Yeah, maybe a little bit. Yeah, see what I mean about that? It's definitely does. Well, I like that there because all the rainbows are covered and there's just a line of hearts on top and the bottom. Okay, that was good. I think what I like is if I put the photos so that there's a little bit of this one goes off the edge and a little bit of that one goes off the edge. This one we don't have an awful lot of choice for, but yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll put them down and leave plenty of room on this side to slide that underneath. Put that there as a placeholder, sort of. And then I've got room to put it, you know, pretty much as far as I want. But, and then, yeah, I could always move those in. Okay, I'm not going to stick that down yet. I think it will be, it's probably going to be prudent to do the whole rainbow cluster thing. I'm a bit nervous about that because it really doesn't look like I've got a whole lot of room to work with. So let's give it a try. I'm going to start with pink and red. I was going to do them both in this area, but it really doesn't look like I've got enough space for that. But then when I tried to move it down, it just didn't look right. So, especially since some of the shapes are really big. Okay, time to be brave. Okay, I've got my embellishments and I've zoomed in a smidge to see if it's any better. So we'll start with the pink ones. Now I'm going to actually, what I'll do is I'm going to start with all of them, but just put the biggest ones down first to see what the situation's like. Some of them are more important to me than others. I'm not worried about the stickers not sticking or anything like that. A lot of them are kind of the same, like I've got loads of 2s and 4s. These I would just cut in half and tuck under something else because that's their ages. I pulled sort of all the, it's a good opportunity to use sort of all the dragons and the other mythical sort of creatures that there are, because this is the sort of page that would accommodate them nicely. I've put everything down and I need to stick it bit by bit. One thing I thought of is I had maybe 5 of the badges and I thought, well, why don't I just pull one for each colour? So I did a bit of chopping and changing, and yeah, so it's a bit of a use all the badges type of exercise. There's an idea for a title up there which may or may not stay like that, and I thought I would have to bring in all the embellishments to give a diagonal, but I just noticed it's sort of looking a little bit, it's curved like a rainbow, so Might actually leave it. I guess I'll get started, and I think working from the inside out is going to be the order of the day. I may chop and change some bits as I go, and then I'll have lots of tiny little bits to add. I do want to add as many buttons as I can and stitch those down, because like these fabric bits, they're sort of do with sewing and dresses and fabric, and that's more or less what the story's about. So yeah, here goes. I have to admit, even I freaked myself out a little bit when I realised I had to pull everything off in order to sew it, but it's okay. I did take a photo before, and I even printed one big. So I also ran the 2 lines of messy stitching around the edge, because it sort of ties in. The stitching doesn't look quite so random in the places that I've put it. Sorry about all that. We've recorded 3 videos in about 4 or 5 days, and this one has had more technical dramas than the other 2 put together. But it's probably not the worst thing, because you really didn't want to see me sit here and painstakingly arrange all these little bits and then rearrange them and then pull them up and then put them back. So some of them look a little bit different to how I had them, partly because I lost some pieces in the debris on my desk, and then I found them once it was finished, and then I moved some around. So say over here there was a lot of the darkest blue in this area, and then the lighter blue sort of was congregating here, and so I swapped a few things around to make it sort of clear that it was all the blues. And what I did after I put all the bits down is I went back with little foam, not foam, what do you call them? The puffy stickers, and put all the little puffy stickers where I could. And then I went after that back with gems in different shapes and colours. I use gems rather than enamel dots because they would stand out that little bit more, I think, and just give it a little bit of sparkle. I stitched down the buttons, there were 2 proper buttons and 2 of the vintage Love Elsie chipboard buttons. I think that's about it. I don't mind how some of the things are popping up a little bit because I know that there's enough adhesive holding them down. It just gives them a bit more movement and texture, but if I think that they're a bit insecure, I might come back with that. Journaling's done. Now the title. I'm not 100% certain what exactly to do. I had this card, and I think that at least as part of the title would be nice. I don't know about the green though, because it sort of just brings a random colour up there, so I thought I could just take out that centre bit. And then I found this transparency from the Amy Tan one. I stuck that letter A on because I thought I could do "You are a beautiful rainbow of possibilities." So if I put it somehow like this and then cut that out, maybe put that, you know, mess about with that. And then I remembered that because I'm using the Counterfeit Kit, one of their challenges, their challenge 1 was to use clips and or tabs. And I have this clip and I really wanted to use that one. It's white, so it's not a colour that I have used, but it's just too big and bulky, and I just can't, because there aren't a lot of layers, it really pulls up on the photos. So I was sad. That made me sad. And I thought, well, I'll have a look for some flatter ones, and I found a coat hanger. And because it's about dresses, how perfect is that? And then there was this, a little inflatable kind of embellishment thing. And I wanted to use that too, and to try and put it sort of in this area. If I cut that out, put this across there, then this may be on top. I could possibly put this up there in the corner somewhere. And the clip, I don't know. Oh, I wonder what if I do this? I wonder if that will work. It's a bit lumpy. If I can kind of, that way instead of putting the coat hanger underneath the thing, I might just stitch. I could stitch that down. Yeah. Well, I'll find a way to make that work because I really like that, and I'm not compromising again after I've lost my star clip. So I'll find a way to get that to stay down. That's not too bad. I find that these are flatter on one side than the other. So if I can get the flat side and somehow get this coat hanger to work, what I will do is sort this out. So I think the first thing I need to do is gut this card. I quite like that frame, so I might try and save that. I mean, it's not that I don't already have enough of this kind of thing. So if we do something like this, if we put them sort of against the dark bit there, something like that. I don't want this too close to there. Now, if I get the spacing so that, because I find that if the black hearts in the background are against the letters, it's a bit distracting, so I'll put it like that. And then that A, I'll put that there and do it last. I'm going to stick down these, and then I think I'm going to come in with the sewing machine and stitch that down, so it'll be more continuity, and obviously because it's a transparency I won't have to worry about the adhesive showing. So I'll just keep that there, and then if I stick these down I can use them as a guide when I'm sewing. Okay, so if I stick down the puffy bit, then I'll just stitch so that the coat hanger sticks. It's just temporarily, I'm going to put a bit of adhesive to keep it exactly where I want it. There we go. Yeah, now all I've got to do is just make sure that the needle jumps across and doesn't break when it hits the metal. I stitch plenty of times over needles, and normally it works alright. Okay, title is done. I added some glue dots behind the the little inflatable thing. It's holding it down. I did manage to stitch the coat hanger with the machine. There's only a single stitch holding one section of it in place. The rest sort of jumped over, but it didn't sort of catch and go over where I needed them to. I may come back and hand stitch it with the needle and thread, or I could try and put it through again. I don't really want to push my luck, and I mean, I've got plenty of needles so I can break a few, but it's a hassle to keep putting them in. I think once it's in the page protector it will be okay. Date. There is an interesting conundrum. Where am I going to put that date? Could just stamp it down here. Yeah. Okay, that's what I'll do. Okay, so there's our date with stays on, because the Instax frames are a bit shiny. Not gonna lie, I was a little bit hesitant as to whether that would turn out okay, but I could always put something over the top if it didn't. Anyway, well, I guess that's all for now. There will be some stills on my blog, and thanks for watching, and if you liked it, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you'd like to see more and all that sort of thing. So thanks again. Bye.